President Jimmy Carter in the nation's capital one final time.
It's feeling like a lot, but it's definitely a great moment to kind of be a part of, see history kind of be made.
The procession for the great president and a man who spent his life in service to his country.
To be this close to a homicide, or, it's kind of scary too.
And a deadly shooting rocks a retirement community in Spokane Valley. Witnesses recount what they heard to KREM 2.
A bit of a change in the weather pattern. We have a wintry mix expected overnight and a slick morning commute tomorrow.
Well, tonight we are bringing you coverage of former President Jimmy Carter's memorial. As the nation continues ceremonies for the 39th president, his casket was transferred to Washington, D.C. today. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Thank you for being here. The streets of the nation's capital came to a stop to honor the former president. Thousands of people braved a pretty Arctic cold to see the military procession. And those who remember his presidency said Mr. Carter wasn't just a good president. They said he was a good man.
D.C. residents braved the cold to watch the U.S.'s 39th president go down Pennsylvania Avenue one last time. D.C. police, along with Secret Service, worked throughout the morning getting the route ready for the former president's return. When everything was in place, attendees gathered in silence to watch President Carter's remains be carried down the same path he walked when he was inaugurated back in 1977.
It's feeling like a lot, but it's definitely a great moment to kind of be a part of, see history kind of be made, and kind of just being in the moment.
You got good pictures?
Yeah, see the camera got on? That's a good one, isn't it?
Robert Walters still remembers canvassing neighborhoods in Illinois for President Carter back in 1976. Walters lives in Jacksonville now, but when he learned Carter passed away on his birthday, he knew he had to be here. He says he continues to hold the former president in high regard, not just for his time in office, but for the smaller moments they shared on the campaign trail.
He witnessed that cop going to give me a hard time about taking pictures, and he stopped after he used the bathroom to let me get a picture of him.
After the reverence on the streets, Carter's casket was walked into the Capitol Rotunda by Marine body bearers. That's where Congress members paid their respects at a private ceremony.
Right now, the public is allowed to enter and pay their respects. That will last until Thursday, when his funeral service will then be held at the National Cathedral. After that, his remains will be flown back to Georgia to officially be laid to rest.
The U.S. Postal Service will be closed this Thursday for the President Jimmy Carter's National Day of Mourning. Regular services will resume on Friday.
New information now about breaking news that we first brought to you on KREM 2 News yesterday. There have been no arrests yet in a deadly shooting in Spokane Valley.
The two men detained by law enforcement for the shooting have since been released. KREM 2's Christian Garza spoke with a neighbor who lives just feet away from where that shooting happened.
Neighbors I've talked to here in the area say they're more aware of their surroundings following the recent shooting. Now, I just wanted to show you how close this shooting was to somebody's house. As you can see right here, this is the parking lot where the shooting happened, and just over the fence is a window to somebody's living room. Spokane County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened yesterday around 12:20 in the afternoon. After investigating, the Sheriff's Office says it was a heated confrontation that turned into a deadly shooting. When deputies got here to the scene, they found one man with multiple gunshot wounds, and he later died at the scene. Kira Johnson, the neighbor who lives next door, tells me that she was watching TV when the shooting happened.
And I just heard about like 5 gunshots go off. Wasn't expecting it to be gunshots, but I looked, and I looked out the window, and I seen like, you can kind of see like somebody laying on the ground.
The Sheriff's Office says deputies found one handgun at the scene. The other individuals involved with the shooting ran before law enforcement got here. Investigators later identified and detained 2 men at a residence just blocks away from the scene. Detectives collected evidence from the residence, including a second handgun that was believed to be used in the shooting. After speaking with the men, one of them told investigators that he was acting in self-defense when he shot at the man who died. Officials Officials later released the detained men without charges at this time. The sheriff's office says no one else was injured. This is still an active investigation. The sheriff's office say arrests are possible if they have new evidence that support criminal charges. The Spokane County Medical Examiner has yet to release the name of the man who died. In Spokane Valley, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
New information now in a KREM 2 investigation of the Meade School District. District officials have now hired a Seattle law firm to independently investigate the Meade High School football program. This is after KREM 2 exclusively broke this story last year of multiple football players claiming they had been assaulted by fellow teammates with a massage gun. Several Meade families are now suing the district, saying that school officials never properly investigated when it was first reported, and then that they failed to protect students in the months afterward, downplaying the allegations. There are also claims that ongoing retaliation among teammates was allowed and was racially motivated. The Seattle firm is being hired to look into district policy violations and whether any policy needs to be changed, and also to help determine if the district's initial response was adequate.
Pend Oreille fire officials working to determine if a person died before or during a fire that started yesterday morning. South Pend Oreille Fire and Rescue responded to an area of Highway 2 near Coyote Trail just before 10 a.m. yesterday. These are pictures of them arriving on the scene. They got to that house fire with a report of one person inside. The body of one victim was discovered near the fire's origin. Right now, authorities are working to identify the victim as well as to find the cause of the fire. All right, let's talk weather. The gray skies just won't let up. It is overcast today with more clouds expected for tomorrow. Let's take our first look at the weather with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Jeremy, at least it's dry for now.
For now. For at least the next, 9 hours.
I'll take it.
Yeah. 34 degrees where we currently sit. And temperatures are going to be a big deal as our next system moves in. We've already seen a little snow try to come down, but if we stay above freezing tonight, then when we get that wintry mix to come down, it will melt upon impact. If we drop below freezing before that moves in, then it becomes freezing rain. So Moscow, you are looking at more of a potential for freezing rain or snow than we are, say, here in Spokane or up in Deer Park or even Coeur d'Alene, with our temperatures slightly above freezing. We had a little disturbance try to move through, didn't really bring us much. In fact, it dies off, and then we look to the west because by 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll see it move through. It looks like it moves out by 5 a.m. So 12 hours from now, we'll be on the backside of this, and then it just keeps going, and by the time you head out the door for the morning commute, the worst of it is behind us. It doesn't amount to much. Let's say snow totals, a dusting. That is where we are going to be. Let's say rain totals, less than 1/10 of an inch. We're not talking much. We're talking like raindrops on the ground. But it could create a few slick spots. See where those temperatures are down below freezing tomorrow morning? That could be those spots where anything that falls does freeze with those cold temperatures of the morning. By the afternoon, though, we're back to clouds and mild temps, and everything that falls overnight melts. So it's just the morning commute that you might want to leave a little extra time for.
Well, getting ready for wildfire season in the winter, we're going to show you the work that DNR is doing to cut down the chance of fire later.
And coming up in a bit, the head of Meta has announced censorship changes to their sites. What that means about fact checking when we come back.